what we expected. So we thank you for your patience and parking, getting here, and the seats and stuff. I apologize, but thank you. That really makes us and the families of the Cemetery Association and everyone else very proud to have this kind of turnout. If I could quickly, the founding families that did this, we joke, we see their name all over every street in the village and everywhere else, from the sharing house busing. Can you raise your hand if you're a descendant from the original families that are part of all this? Just raise your hand. Yes, look at that. Give them a hand. Thank you. Thank you. We have a very special event today. We thank you for being here. One advance warning. At the end, the officers, the unit will be doing a 3-gun volley. So as they get set up over there, if you have some hearing issue, that be prepared for the guns going off. Just want to give you that in advance so you're prepared for that. Again, we welcome everyone being here today. Here in Elk Grove Village, pride and joy, which is the history of Elk Grove Village, is right here where you're standing. You walk around, as I said, you see names, and you think about, well, Bussy Road, Cosman Road, Sharon, all the farm family. That is the history of this area. This cemetery is almost 200 years old. It goes back with the beginning with the country. And these families have made this area what it is today, whether it's Elk Grove Village, Arlington Heights, Mount Prospect, all around. These families made what we have today. And to be able to be part of that history, to change, to show, to be proud of, we're very proud of doing. Again, I tell people all the time, this was not done by the village government. This was done by people that benefit, that are part of this area, and I'll go through a little more of that in a few minutes. With that said, I'd like to ask everyone to please stand behind this location. Speaks for itself. And today we're so proud to be here to rededicate it. It's amazing how people driving by or came up to me lately and said, Mayor, I drove by and I didn't know we got a new cemetery. And I said, oh, it's been there. And it deserved the recognition it's getting today. And one of the reasons why we did what we did. Again, this is not a village government project. This is done through the partnership of people in Elk Grove that have done well in Elk Grove, that made Elk Grove Business Park, from civic groups, from the Revolutionary War veterans, families, and from local people. And we're very proud to be able to have this completed on behalf. Because this truly is the birthplace of Elk Grove Village. This truly is how this area are started. And we're excited about that. I need to thank some people real quick before I have our guest speakers. First, my board of trustees. Can they stand? Whoever, or raise your hand if you're standing. Thank you. Thank you. Nothing gets done in the village unless we work together to get it done, and then the main part. Right back there is a gentleman with his glasses on, a white shirt. That's Ken J. Ken J is one of our top people in our Public Works Department. He oversaw all of this. And I teased Ken, I said, Ken, when you go into college, how many cemetery restoration classes did you take? And he still laughs and smiles, but he was the go man on this project, did a phenomenal job, on time, under budget. That's what we always like to hear. Ken, thank you. Where's Matt Rohn, our village manager? Where's Matt? Matt's out there. Matt partnered with me as we reached out to different businesses, names you'll see, to get the financing we needed. And wouldn't have happened without his support and partnership. So we thank Matt. The Elk Grove Cemetery, where's the Elk Grove Cemetery Association? I saw, who's with them? There, back there. Mike Sharonhausen, I know Janet Sharonhausen, Fowler. They're here, and we thank you. We thank you for what your families have done. We thank you for what you've done to keep the history and the pride of this area going. And we thank you for letting us partner with you to turn this into what we're doing today. So thank you on behalf of everybody. I know some of the contractors are here. Raise your hands. I know the fence guys. Where are they? There they are, back there. The beautiful fencing, the stone, all that. Those guys, whether it's 20 below zero or the other day when it's 95 degrees, they're always working. And I swear, a lot of times they're just in a t-shirt, hot or cold. But they did a great job. Thank you, guys. last but not least, some of our donors that stepped up. So raise your hands. Any? Well, I'm there. Always mine. Uncle Billy back there. Yes, thank you. They stepped up to make this possible. The bottom line is, without the money, nothing happens. A sad thing, but it's the truth. So we thank them. We're glad.
District 4, sorry. District 4 for Illinois, and that's like the whole Chicago area and beyond. I tell my chapters that one of the best things you can ever have is a mayor who is a former history teacher, because you can get amazing things done and they get excited about things, and that was one of our best surprises. I'm going to ask you to use your imagination just a little. Well, I'm going to ask you to use your imagination a lot. Imagine you were back in 1834, 192 years ago. This highway hill, that highway hill, doesn't exist. The buildings back up behind us here haven't been built yet. This busy road out in front here, it's a dirt road, occasionally having a horse or a cart pulled by oxen coming by, and that's what you have. There are prairies surrounding us, all everywhere. An occasional group of trees, a forest as you get over near Salt Creek. And an occasional herd of elk wandered through, disappearing into the trees. The ground beneath your feet is beautiful, black, extra good soil, just waiting for someone to plant something in it or use as a pasture. This is where adventurous pioneers from the New England colonies, New England states, started to arrive. They made a land here. The first was Joseph Barnes. He was from New York, and he's buried the far spire down there. There was a dove sitting on it earlier today, by the way, which I think is really cool. Soon, over 14 families joined here to make a community, and more were added, more and more as it went along. They came from New York, Massachusetts, Connecticut, and New Hampshire. And soon they established the community that we're looking for. They are the first settlers of Elk Grove, and at least 5 of them and their families are buried in this little piece of land. In 1948, they were joined by a wave of German pioneers who came in, immigrants, who became a vital part of the community. One of the settlers that came in originally was a doctor, Dr. Frederick Miner. He arrived with several family members and set his roots down on this very land that we're standing in right now. In 1837, a small boy, Edwin Draper, 1 year, 8-month old, passed away. Dr. Miner offered this little sacred acre of land to the community as a final resting place. 6 months later, a short 6 months later, his very own niece, Mary Barnes Levina, Mary Levina Barnes, was buried here at the age of 6 months old. Now, Dr. Miner's family was an exceptional family, and his father an exceptional man and a pillar of the community. His name was Aaron Miner. He's buried over there near his son, and he was a soldier in the American Revolution. He was born in Connecticut. At 18 years old, he volunteered for the Connecticut militia in 1775, right at the beginning of the war. He served in the battles of Lake Champlain, Lake George, and then moved up into Canada to serve in the battles of St. John and Montreal. But he's not the only American patriot, an American Revolutionary soldier buried here in this small cemetery. Another of the first families to arrive was the family of Eli Skinner. He was born in Connecticut, but as a young boy, his family moved to Massachusetts. He heard the call for people to take up arms after the battles of Concord and Lexington, and joined the Massachusetts militia. He was only 14 years old. At 14 years old, he could not bear arms, so they made him into a fifer, a musician, and he was sent to guard Boston for a period. He re-enlisted in 1777, and when he re-enlisted, he was now old enough to truly be a soldier, and he was a private. And he carried arms and was assigned to the garrison troops that protected Fort Ticonderoga. They are the only 2 of veterans of the American Revolutionary War who have been verified by the sons and daughters of the American Revolution and who are buried in Cook County. This is a unique and marvelous cemetery. I call it a street name cemetery. So when you enter, you look around and the names are all there. Bussey, Landmeyer, Miner, Gebert, Kosman. The residents of this community are the founders of this community. And the residents of the cemetery are the founders of this community. There are many veterans buried here, 6 police and fire members, and I recommend checking out the headstone of Henry Kingsley, a Civil War soldier. It's over there where they have the double set of stones for the family. Civil War soldier who died from congestive fever in Tennessee. His body was brought back here and he's buried there. On the rear side of his stone is an American flag, and underneath it a banner that says, "I lay my life on the altar of my country." And then there are the unknowns. They're over here. You don't see stones with them. We know that they are American soldiers. We know where they are buried, but we don't know who they are. They are known but to God. This cemetery contains a wonderful blend of those who, both in early times and up to current days, were critical to the development of this community. There are politicians, judges, clergy, all sorts of business people, and farmers. Oh, there are so many farmers. The prominent and the ordinary. They all played a part in creating this wonderful village. If you had seen this cemetery 1 year ago, you would have seen a cemetery that seriously showed its age. Although it had been carefully and lovingly preserved by the Elk Grove Cemetery Association, it looked like an old cemetery. And then the community came. The community joined together to restore it into the inspiring place that you see today. You see, this cemetery was more than restored. The history of this community and of the people who formed it and grew it has been reclaimed. Efforts are continuing to document the lives of those who rest here. What we are restoring is your history and those who made it, so that it may never be forgotten. Thank you.